picture that I have on my phone of the peonies, and I want to try to find pigments that will kind of match with these. You know how peonies are just, sometimes they can be really just muted colors, just really soft, ethereal colors. So that's what I'm kind of experimenting with here. And it's just, this is just a study. And I found this this Jane Davenport watercolor palette. And I really like the Best Friend, the pink Best Friend that I'm doing here. And mixing it with the Buzzy. And I really like the combination of those two together. And I'm thinking those could be really nice for a soft peony color. And these are, again, they're from Jane Davenport. And the Best Friend one, I would say, is similar to an opera pink. And the Buzzy would be like a lemon yellow, I'm comparing it to. And then I've got my Daniel Smith palette over here. All of these ones are Daniel Smith, and I'm using the Potter's Pink here, and that is just one of my new favorite pinks to use. It's just so soft. One thing about it though, it does have a lot of granulation to it, so you do have to be watching that and use it in places where it would be okay, and with the granulation, and just make sure that you aren't wanting like a really soft, smooth, silky look, because the granulation kind of doesn't work with that. And then I've got some quinacridone gold here, and I'm just kind of experimenting and seeing, because I want kind of a white, an off-white color. So I mixed the quinacridone gold from Daniel Smith with a cobalt blue, and I don't know, I don't really love that, so I'm going to try the quinacridone sienna and see how that works. And that's a little bit more orange, and again, I'm just trying to find like a white yellow type color. So I'm just kind of, this is what I often do before I start anything, even just to study, just to see how the colors work. And I would encourage you to do this. And it's good to, you find lots of different color combinations and lots of different, it really teaches you how your colors work, how your pigments work, and what situations you might want to use them in, and what situations you might want to avoid using them in. So this is one of my favorite, cobalt blue. It is my favorite, by Derwent. And it's got kind of a milky, it's almost like a gouache in some ways. And I'm mixing it with just an orange. I'm not sure. Let me just check here. Yeah, it's just called Orange Yellow by Derwent. And that is giving me kind of like a grayish white. So I'm looking for a warm white and a cool white. And I mean, you could use Chinese white, and sometimes that works, and I do that as well sometimes, but I'm just trying to do it, see how I can do it, just mixing up a cool white and a cool gray. And this is just, again, a good way to experiment and figure out what you want, what colors you're going to use before you actually start painting. And so you can see there, I've kind of created mud because I've used a blue and an orange, but I'm hoping it will give me kind of a cool gray color when I water it down. So peonies can sometimes be, many times it's very easy to paint them and have them looking like roses. So I would say start with painting them in their unbloomed form. So where they're just like balls and they just have some really vibrant little slits of color kind of coming through the petals and right through the top. And that's a good way to start painting peonies. And honestly, just paint kind of a circle, and you can paint a few of the petals, sorry, a few of the petals starting to fall down. And I honestly love pictures of them just like these balls of like the soft color, and they just remind me of velvet. And so you can see I'm just adding in some of that cobalt blue and just adding in a little bit of that color, and but the main petal colors are that gray that I mixed up top there with the blue and the orange. And like I said, this is just a study, so you know, who knows where this is going to end up. And I'm just using it in my sketchbook. It's not even, it's just a mixed media paper. I think it's only 90-pound paper, and no, it's 140-pound, but it's considered mixed media, so it is supposed to take watercolor, but I don't do any actual watercolor pieces on this paper. This is just to play around with my pigments and do just some quick studies and just to experiment before I do an actual piece. And I just thought that I would do a video on this just to show you how I do this. And you can see that I've added in some green down below for just a little hint of a stem. And now I'm using a mixture actually of the Jane Davenport Best Friends with the quinacridone coral from Daniel Smith. And this is just another, you can see it a little bit better with this color, the shape of the peony, and you can just see there's just a hint of the petals coming down there. But for the most part, it's just a circle with, you know, some colors, kind of some pigments, just more vibrant pigments coming out in places. And I am going to do a time lapse of this video as well, for those of you who don't really care for the instructional part and you just kind of enjoy watching paintings in time lapse. So that section that I'm working on there, that is kind of the break between the petals of the peony, and you can see all of those luscious petals coming. They're going to come out, but right now they're just kind of contained within that ball of petals there. And I love that. And I'm just adding some quinacridone gold in there, just at the bottom, just for some atmospheric effect. And you don't want to, with this style, like a loose watercolor style, you don't want to emphasize all the edges. You don't want them all detailed. You just kind of want to do a hint of edges here and there, just to give enough of an idea to the viewer of what it is. And then the brain figures out the rest. And honestly, I find this a lot easier. When I try to do and refine every detail and every edge, it just ends up looking like a coloring book or something. And it doesn't look realistic to me. Like, that's just how I paint it. Other people do it very detailed and it looks amazing. I enjoy, for myself, painting in this style better than the detailed. It just works for me better. As an artist, that's what works for me, and I'm sure there's other artists that are just like, no, I don't like the detailed or the loose watercolor look. I like really refining those details. And yeah, it's just personal preference, really. and also knowing what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. And I just love having part of that, like you can see part of that flower is just like softening out and just kind of disappearing into the atmosphere behind it. And I love that look. It just contributes to the softness of the flower. And many people would say that this would be easier. And in some ways, I think they're right, because you don't have to be so detailed. But it is a lot harder than one would think to paint in a loose style, to get it looking the right way and not just like a big mess on the paper. So there's pros and cons to both styles, and it is just about trying different things and just keep working at it and see what works best for you. That's honestly the best way to do it. And if you find yourself frustrated, just know that any artist you follow, no matter what style they do, and they seem like, oh, they just are amazing. They just do that style so great, and they don't seem to struggle at all. Trust me, they all struggle, and they've all had to work it, and they've all had days where they're just like, I can't paint. I guess I can't paint. And I've had that. Like, I'll have a day where it's just like, you know what? I'm obviously, I don't have any talent, and I clearly don't know how to paint, and I go to bed that night just feeling just totally defeated and just like, I should just give up. Then the next day I start again, and I have like an awesome day where I've done like 3 paintings or just even studies where it's like, oh, I really, really like how that turned out, and that's the first time I've been able to get that effect or whatever. And you know, so just keep going and don't let yourself stop when you feel like you have no talent and no ability. Just keep going. You can see that I'm adding a little bit darker there in the blue because I need something more. And yeah, I'm just wanting to do a little bit more and see how that works. And that's actually Indigo by Daniel Smith. And I just have the Indigo by Daniel Smith. I think I have an Indigo by Winsor Newton, but it's never on the palettes that I use, so I just end up using the Daniel Smith. But anyways, I love the indigo color for so many things. I love adding it into my greenery. It just makes the leaves pop, and I love using it for negative painting. If I want just a really good contrast, indigo is great. Like it's not black. Black is too much, and blue just works really well. And I feel like blue really mixes with the green. The indigo mixes really well with the green. And so in my loose floral watercolors, I use indigo so much. And I'm just adding some little color down, some little greenery color down at the bottom there. One thing that I do need to kind of just work on, not necessarily with studies, but just looking at the flowers themselves and seeing their individual leaves and the leaves that are different with the different flowers, and studying those a little bit better so that I can do more specific type leaves that actually go with the flower that I'm painting. So I'm kind of lazy, I will admit, in that area, and I just do some brushes of leaves, and they all kind of look the same, unfortunately, and that's just because I need to actually take the time to look at the different leaves that come with them. So here again, I am just using the green to do some negative painting. And the greens that are in the palette there are Daniel Smith Gold. is a really sunny kind of green, like it just adds really nice warmth green to it. And then there's cobalt green and cascade green, which gets a little bit of blue granulation in it, and it's awesome. Then chromium green oxide and green apatite genuine, which is probably my favorite green to use, and I overuse it. But you know, it is what it is. And now I am doing kind of a purpley, a very light purple, and I'm using an amethyst genuine, I believe it is. Nope, it's the Potter's Pink, sorry. It's the Potter's Pink that I'm using there. And I really like how that one turned out. That Potter's Pink is such a great color for peonies, but you do have to be careful with the granulation for it. So I decided to take some of my Naples yellow from Sennelier and see what, I just kind of wanted to see if I could do like an off-white beige peony and switch that blue one to an off-white color and just see how that would work. Because this is a study after all, so might as well try things out. I do like how that blue one turned out actually, the grayish blue. But I don't really know if that's an actual peony color, like the blue. I guess it would just be like a white one with a little bit of the shadows in it, and that would kind of be, but I don't think I've ever seen like a blue peony. But you know, you're painting this, so it can be whatever color you want, as far as I'm concerned. Others might disagree. And look at that indigo, like it just makes that pop so much. Oh, I just love it. So I don't know if that Naples yellow on top of that peony was it might have been a little bit of a fail. But whatever. And honestly, don't be scared to just try different things, because I you know, like you can find out a lot of things, and I was actually very happy with this study, and it gave me something to really work with for an actual painting. And it tells you, you know, what to do, what works really good, what to use in an actual painting, and maybe what not to do. So and how to do something different. And so definitely take the time to do the studies. You can learn a lot from them. I know that sometimes, and I'm guilty of this all the time, is that we just kind of, no, I just want to do a painting. Like I need to get some paintings done, you know, like especially like with licensing, I want to get some more off to the licensing agency that I'm with. And you know, if you're doing videos, sometimes you just want to do a painting and you don't want to take the time. With videos, it's a little bit easier because you can just make the video whatever you want. You can make it as an actual painting, or you can make it like a study, like this one. But do take the time, because it is valuable. It is worth the time, and you gain some valuable knowledge and from doing it. And I think after I'm done this video, I actually added some indigo around that yellow, because right now the background and the edge there is all the same. So when I show you the final thing at the end, I think it will be with the indigo behind it, so that there's more of a contrast between that yellowish peony color. And just let me know in the comments below if you liked it before or after I changed that color. I'm thinking I liked it before, but you know what? It's a study, so don't be afraid to try new things and just keep working with it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.